What type of documents will the investors need to provide?
Well, first of all investors need to provide basic demographic information about themselves and any dependents who will be accompanying them. Generally, that includes copies of passports, birth certificates, in certain cases, maybe resume, for example, if we're talking about an investor who earned his or her money through their career, we'd probably want to include their resume to show that this person, in fact, had gradually taken on more high-paying jobs over the course of his or her career, and that explains how they were able to earn the money. In addition, documents that would show the source of the funds and the path of the funds, those documents are probably the most important. And again, that really depends on each particular scenario. So we would need documentation showing where they got the money from, say for example the sale of an apartment or just the earnings that they accumulated over the course of their career. And then in addition, we would need documents that show the path of the funds. So it's not sufficient to say, hey, I made $500,000 from the sale of my house, here's the $500,000 in my Citibank account. We need to show how that money literally came to the U.S. From the original source. So we would need, for example, a sales purchase agreement that shows, okay, this was the sale price. We generally would want to see how that money was deposited into the investor's account by the buyer, how it was converted into U.S. dollars, at what exchange rate, and then what path it made to get to the U.S. Now, if it's a country where there are any kind of foreign currency exchange restrictions or capital control restrictions that limit how much they can wire overseas from their home country, then we might run into some more challenges in terms of documenting the path of funds, because a lot of countries sometimes have black market exchange rates where it's much more advantageous for the client to exchange the money at that rate. But if we can't document that, we can't show that the money was actually exchanged at this rate and this is how the money was moved, that can pose some challenges. And so in each case, it really depends on each client's particular circumstances.
Does the investor need to show all his assets?
No, absolutely not. Really, all the investor needs to show is his or her assets to equal the amount of the investment, the $500,000 or more, as well as the admin fee. So if an investor's assets, it constitutes several $1 million, there's absolutely no need to disclose that or reveal it. And quite honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing that, since there's really no need to do that. So all that the investor has to do is just document that $500,000 plus the admin fee.
Is the investment amount that the investor brings to the U.S. taxed in the U.S.?
The original $500,000?
Right.
No, that's not subject to tax, because at that point, the investor obviously is not a resident, so that's not taxed. And in addition, any funds that are brought into the U.S. prior to becoming a resident would not be subject to any taxation. So again, we always recommend clients work with a tax attorney or tax accountant for tax planning purposes, but there are a number of ways that are completely legal, completely legitimate to minimize or even wipe out any tax obligations the investor would have prior to arriving in the U.S. as a resident.